This is a guide to the second phase or second half of the strategic marketing plan. In this phase of the strategic marketing plan, the focus is on where do we want to be, that is, the objectives, and how are we going to get there, the strategy. The tactics are a specific list of actions that help us know what we exactly want to do in getting there or reaching our objectives. You begin looking at strategies first in terms of segmenting the market, deciding on your targets, and then determining how you will position your product or service within those markets. The Ansoff Bcg or Porter's competitive strategy models may be useful at this stage of the plan. We are going to discuss them separately in a few minutes. The decisions you make about the marketing mix in any strategy will include a mix of both push and pull strategies. You next, in answering the question, how are we going to get there, need to present a marketing budget. This can range from low cost for a sole proprietorship to a high cost one for a well-established firm. You then have to provide a roadmap for the how are we going to get there question. This is easiest accomplished in a implementation table, and we do have some examples to share with you. You then need a final section on control or evaluation, or a section that answers the question, how do we know we got there, or were we successful? This is a dashboard that you will set up that shows what is entailed in the measurement of each objective. If you have included a KPI or key performance indicators column in your implementation table, this can also be integrated into this section or control and evaluation. Your final section will be your references, which most likely will not be as lengthy as the ones you had for the first part of your project that was submitted. Please note this first part with any revisions you have done is added as an appendix to the second phase of the project you have just completed. The outlined red box in the upper right part of the slide shows the format of the entire final strategic marketing plan that you will submit. First note, it begins with an executive summary, then the strategic marketing plan phase 2, and then the appended situation and SWOT analyses, which are done in the first phase of the plan. This schematic is posted in Blackboard in the Strategic Marketing Plan Toolkit. It is from an article entitled Situation Analysis and Strategic Planning, an empirical case study in the UK beverage industry, and was authored by Verontas and Trousseau. Your focus for this phase of the project begins with the objectives, which are indicated in the red block. Please note the objectives need to be SMART, that is, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely, or have a timetable. The red arrows points to the major strategies you will be formulating, and the green arrows point to optional strategies you might want to use. Through the marketing mix strategy, you will develop the tactics that will answer the question, how do we exactly get there? The implementation of the plan, as I previously suggested, works out better when it is laid out in a table. The control and evaluation is to have everything in place, the measurements that you will need to know if you were successful in reaching the identified objectives of the strategic marketing plan. Common objectives for for-profit companies are on the list to the left. Please note that the objectives begin with the word to and suggest an improved state. On the right are typical objectives set forth for a nonprofit organization, like to raise community awareness and engagement, to increase the membership of the organization, to raise funds for the organization, that type of thing. This slide conceptualizes how strategies are linked to ones identified in the third slide that I showed you, the one with the arrows, and also how they are linked to the marketing mix. Note the strategies can be, in themselves, push or pull ones. It is typical to have a marketing plan that consists of both push and pull strategies. In the boxes radiating from each marketing mix element are common strategies that work hand in hand with segmentation, targeting, and positioning strategies, as well as special strategies like the ones associated with the Ansoff, BCG, or Porter models. For example, with pricing strategies, you might be employing psychological pricing strategies or a penetration pricing strategy and so forth. For the promotion strategy, your focus may be on an advertising strategy, a personal sales strategy, or a social media strategy. The main thing is to see how all work and flow together in a strategic marketing plan. The business tools and models that have been identified and explained in this course are noted in red font on this slide. The one in bold red font are the ones we will go over next. There are, though, other business models you are free to explore and use for your strategic marketing plan, and they are listed in black font. You probably have heard of the term cash cow, referring to some aspect of a business that does well. The business school is often referred to as the cash cow of a university. Well, this originated with the Boston Consulting Group. They developed a 2x2 table with the variables of marketing growth rate and relative market share. So a dog would represent the lowest market share and the lowest growth rate, the bottom corner left quadrant, whereas a cash cow represents the highest relative market share, but not the highest market growth. Typically, if this matrix determines you have a dog, you would most likely want to harvest or get rid of it, whereas a cash cow represents the best in market share, and perhaps because you have already penetrated that market, the market growth rate may be fairly low. The star shows both high market growth rate as well as high market share, whereas the question mark is typically a startup that may have initially a high market growth rate, but is too young to have gained much share of the market. The Bcg matrix is often helpful if you are analyzing a portfolio of products, such as in the case of Apple. The iPod is the dog or part of the business you might consider divesting, whereas QuickBooks is showing the best market growth along with the Apple Watch, which also has high market share. The cash cow for Apple is the iPad, which has high market share, but the market is probably fairly saturated, so there would be slower growth. I think overlaying the product life cycle on the Bcg matrix provides a better picture of what's happening with this model. The question mark is a product you are not sure of, or one that is probably in the introduction stage where significant investment is required. Could very well be a startup company. A star is on the growth stage and could be, at this point, it could be considered a market challenger. The cash cow is at its peak, and the idea here is to maintain itself as a market leader, to prevent slipping into decline or entering the dog stage, where your best option may be to prune or divest or certainly reduce the marketing funds allocated to it. The Ansoff matrix, like the Bcg matrix, is a 2x2 table where the two variables are existing markets on the vertical axis and existing products on the horizontal axis. Any movement from the green quadrant comes with a certain amount of risk, whether it's market development, or product diversification, which would be considered the riskiest of the options. McDonald's is a good example to use for this strategic model or template. From its market penetration of 14,146 fast food outlets, McDonald's could enter new markets, such as it is planning to do in 2022 when it opens 500 new stores in the U.S. In product development, it could take on more risk by adding things like McPlant or the crispy chicken sandwich to its menus. The riskiest option is diversification. As an example, would be the 30 Golden Arch Hotel McDonald's, which recently opened in the UK. With Michael Porter, we again turn to his theories on competitiveness, and this time with the generic strategy where he, like BCG and Ansoff, presents a 2x2 table, but the variables being market scope and competitive advantage. In market scope, you range from a niche player like Dollar General to a company who targets a more diversified or broad market like Walmart's. The horizontal matrix of competitive advantage ranges from a focused element attractiveness, such as cost attractiveness, to a differentiated focus, such as unique attractiveness, which would include businesses like Nordstrom's at the broad market level and Anthropologie at the niche level. The implementation part of the strategic marketing plan, I think, is best laid out in a grid or table with columns for when, where, and who, and even the key KPIs that you will use. There are a number of ways a table can be laid out, but it is best to think of the tactics as being on the vertical axis or in a column, perhaps each tactic separated as a new row. Some just general suggestions. With objectives, you can have as few as 2, but I would suggest no more than 4. For each objective, you can have multiple strategies. The most typical strategies included in a plan are whether the marketing tactics assigned are part of a push or pull strategy. On this slide, I present the major differences between push and pull strategies based on goals, users, use, direction, and focus. To be remembered is that big brand companies like Coca-Cola and Nike use both push and pull strategies within a given marketing plan. After your strategic marketing plan is completed and written, you will need to prepare an executive summary of it. This is placed at the beginning of the plan. It should not be over at the max, 3 pages, maybe better 2 pages. And basically you just give a brief synopsis of the client's company, a synopsis of your plan and strategies, and the proposed solutions or recommendations, but in brief form. I hope this helps now with providing a guide for the strategic marketing plan and the second half. Please do not hesitate to contact me or your section leader if you have questions or you need our help as during the process of working on your strategic marketing plan. Okay, thank you very much.